When life gives you lemons, make this bag. Hi everyone, it's me again, Jenny, and I'm back again with another gorgeous design. Today I'll teach you how to make this lemon beaded bag, okay? Now let's go! Firstly, we'll need some beads for this project. So I have yellow pearl beads in size 8mm, gold sugar beads in size 10mm, white pearl beads in size 8mm, and lastly for the handle, green pearl beads in size 6mm. Then we would also need some fishing line, and I'll be using this in 0.70mm. And lastly, we'll need our scissors, and that is all we'll need for this project. Now let's get to work. This would be our guide for this project. I've already done this off camera, okay? So we're going to start all the way from this very first row right here, then bead it all the way down. If you like, you can screenshot this so that you can use it as a guide on your own later. Now let us get to the actual work. Now cut out a length of line that will be comfortable for you to work with. The very first thing we're going to start with, like I said earlier, is that first ever row of yellow beads. So going with the yellow beads, and on the left hand side you're going to add 4 yellow beads. Then you drag down 3 and cross through the last one. Now you have your first ever ring. To continue, on both sides you're going to add 1 bead each. On the left 1 bead, on the right 1 bead, and then we take 1 more bead and cross both ends of our line through that bead, just like this. And now we have our second ring. One more time, on both sides 1 bead each, and then we take 1 more bead to close that up. Now we have our third ring. So as simple as this step is, we're going to keep it going until we get to our desired total length. My desired total length for this first row is 13 rows in total, but I'm going to stop at the 12th row because the 13th one will be different. So let's meet all the way there. I'm here now at 12 rings, almost at my desired length. It is now time to complete this first row of my bag. So instead of the usual one on each side and cross with 1, on the left hand side alone I'm going to add 3 beads, then I'll cross into the last one added, and this will take me over to the other side of my work, just like this. Now we are done with the very first row of our bag. It's now time to go over to the new row, and now it's time to get serious. I want you to pay close attention so you do not miss a step. Now let's get started with the pattern. On the left hand side we're going to start with 3 yellow beads, and then we cross into the last one. To continue, the right will go through the next yellow bead, and on the left we add 2 yellow beads and cross into the last one. To continue, the right will go into the next bead, and on the left we add 2 white pearls and cross into the last one. To continue, the right will go to the next bead, and on the left we add 1 sugar bead and 1 white pearl. Again, 1 sugar bead and 1 white pearl. One more time, 1 sugar bead and 1 white pearl. To continue, we'll then add 2 white pearls and cross into the last one. Now this part we are in is the middle of our bag, and this other side will be the mirror of the first half of what we just did. So the next we have to add is 1 sugar bead, 1 white, 1 sugar bead, 1 white, one more time, 1 sugar bead, 1 white, and then to continue add 1 white, 1 yellow, 2 yellow. And now that we are the last ever ring on this row, the right will go into the next bead, and still on the right hand side we would add 2 pearl beads, and then we cross into the last one. That will take us over to the other side of our work, and now we are done with the second row of our bag. Now let's continue. It's time to go over to the third row, and we will start with 3 yellow beads and cross into the last one. Once that is done, we're going with 2 white beads. Next, 1 white bead, 1 sugar bead. Next, 2 sugar beads. Again, 2 sugar beads, and then 1 sugar bead, 1 white bead. We are now at the middle, but if you can notice, you can see that our work is covering up the beads, okay? Don't worry, this is very normal. This is what you want to achieve. The next thing we have to do now is to add 2 white beads and cross into the last one. And like I said earlier, the second half of this row would be a mirror of the first half, so we're going with 2 sugar beads, again 2 sugar beads, one more time. And now we're going to go in with 2 white pearls, 1 white, 1 yellow, and lastly on the right hand side alone we add 2 yellow beads. Now we're done with the third row. Okay, let's keep going. It's now time to head on to the fourth row, and now I'm going to make things a bit quicker. To do that, we're going to start with 1 yellow bead, 2 white beads, 2 sugar beads, 1 sugar bead, 1 white bead, 1 white bead, 1 sugar bead, 2 sugar beads, 1 sugar bead, 1 white bead. We're now at the middle and we're going with 2 white beads. Like I said, the second half would be a mirror of the first half, so we're going with 2 sugar beads, 2 sugar beads, 2 white beads, 2 sugar beads, 1 sugar bead, 1 white bead, and at the last ever ring on the right hand side we're going with 1 yellow bead, 1 white bead. And now we're done with the fourth row. Yep, we're progressing. To head on to the fifth row, we start with 1 yellow bead, 1 white, 1 sugar bead, 2 sugar beads, 2 sugar beads, 1 sugar bead, 1 white, 1 white, 1 sugar bead, 1 sugar bead, 1 white. Well, now at the middle we're going with 2 white, then we're going with 2 sugar bead, 2 white, 2 sugar bead, 2 sugar bead, 2 sugar beads, and at the last ever row we're going with 1 yellow and 1 white. And now we're done with that. Let's head on to the sixth row now, and we're going to start with 1 yellow, 1 white, 1 sugar bead, 2 sugar beads, 2 sugar bead, one more time, 2 sugar beads, then 1 sugar bead, 1 white, 2 white, 2 white again, then 2 white, 2 sugar beads, 2 sugar beads again, and the last ever one go with 1 yellow, 1 white. Now we're done with that. Let's go over to the seventh row. Start with 1 yellow, 2 white, 1 sugar bead, 1 white, 1 sugar bead, 1 white again, 2 white, 2 white again, one more time with 2 whites, and then we're going with 1 sugar bead, 1 white. We keep up with this same pattern of 1 sugar bead, 1 white until we get all the way down. And now that we're here, we're going to finish again with 1 sugar bead, 1 white, and then with 1 yellow, 1 white. It's now time for the eighth row. We're going with 1 yellow, 1 white, 1 sugar bead, 2 sugar beads, 2 sugar beads, 2 sugar beads, 2 white, 1 sugar bead, 1 white, 2 white, 1 sugar bead, 1 white, 1 white, 1 sugar bead, 2 sugar bead. We would repeat the same 2 sugar beads twice, and then we're going with 1 yellow, 1 white. Now we're done. It's now time to go on over to the ninth ring, and to do that we're going to start with 1 yellow, 1 white, 1 sugar bead, 2 sugar bead, 2 sugar bead, 2 white, 2 sugar bead, 1 sugar bead, 1 white, 2 white, and then 2 sugar bead, 1 sugar bead, 1 white, 1 white, 1 sugar bead, 2 sugar beads, 2 sugar beads, and the last is 1 yellow, 1 white. It's now time for the 10th row, going with 2 yellow beads, 1 white, 1 white, 1 sugar bead, 2 white, 2 sugar beads, 2 sugar beads, 1 sugar bead, 1 white, 2 white, 2 sugar bead, 2 sugar bead, 1 sugar bead, 1 white, 1 white, 1 sugar bead, 2 white, and 2 yellow. Let's keep going. It's now time for the 11th row. We're going with 3 yellow beads, 1 yellow, 1 white, 1 white, 1 sugar bead, 2 sugar beads, 2 sugar beads, 1 sugar bead, 1 white, 2 white, 2 sugar beads, 2 sugar beads, 2 sugar beads, 2 white, 2 yellow, and lastly 2 yellow. We are now at the final ring. Okay, so we're going to start with 3 yellow, 2 yellow, 1 yellow, 1 white, 1 yellow, 1 white, one more time, 1 yellow, 1 white. We will then keep up with this pattern until we get to the last 3 rings. Okay, and then we continue with 2 yellow, 2 yellow again, and lastly 2 yellow. And now we are done with that. So from here on, let us go ahead to end our line. I'm done with that, and this is what it looks like. Our lemon pattern has formed very nicely, but we have just one more thing to do over here. We want to add like a sharp edge to the bottom of this, just like this right here. We want the corners of our bag to shape up just like this, and to do that I'm going to apply the reduction process. I'll cut out some line and skip the first ring right there and go into the second one. I will start with 3 beads, then 2, and keep this pattern going until I get to the second to the last bead. Do not go into that last one because this is the reduction process. Okay, and now that I'm here, I will go ahead to end my line. And yes, we are done with that. Look at how beautiful our lemon pattern looks. We're done creating the facing of our bag. It's now time for one last thing. We have to create the sides of our bag. So we're going to pass our line through this first bead right here and start with 3 beads. Then we're going to keep up with the pattern of 2 beads as usual. Then you keep it going until you get all the way down. And when you get here, you end the first row with 2 beads on the right, and then you start a new row with 3 beads and keep the pattern of 2 going as well. So as simple as that, that is how to create the side of your bag. Now we are finally done with the making process of the facing of our bag. And of course you want to repeat this process in 2 places, making it 2 sides or 2 facings in total. It is now time to join these 2 sides to make it a whole bag. To do that, I'm going to make sure both sides are properly aligned just like this. Then I'm going to take 1 bead and pass it through my line. Then I'll pass both ends of my line through the sides of those facing, the right to the right and the left to the left. I will then take 1 more bead to close that up. I'll do that again, the right to the right and the left to the left, and then I close with 1. And this is what I'm going to keep up with until I get all around this. And when I get all the way down, I'm just going to end my line. Okay, so let's meet right there at the finished part. I'm here now. I have joined my bag. I now have my whole bag and it's looking so nice. It is now time for the next part. It's time to shape up the sides of our bag. To do that, I'm going to locate the 3 rings in the middle of those 5 rings on the side, pass my line through those rings, then I'll take just 1 bead to close that up. The next thing I'm going to do is to pass both ends of my line through the sides, and then I take 1 bead to close that up. One more time, the right to the right and the left to the left, and I take 1 bead to close that up, and this is where we are going to stop. From here on, I would end my line. And here is what I have. It's looking so good. I will then repeat the same thing on the opposite side as well. And yes, we are done with both sides. It is now time for the final part. We have to create the handle of our bag. To do that, I'm going to locate the pattern of 4 rings in the middle right there, and I'll pass my line through any of those beads. Once that is done, on the left hand side I will add 3 beads, close that up, then the right will go through the next ring on the side there, on the left we add 2 beads. Once that is done, the right will go to the next ring, that's the third of the 4 pattern of rings, and then on the left we add 2 beads. Then for this final part, the right will go through the last bead and that bead right there on the side, and then we close with 1 bead. Now we have built the first row of our handle. Let's do this one more time. It starts with 3 beads, Then the right will go through the next bead there, and on the left 2 beads. One more time, and on the left 2 beads. Now this last ever part, the line will go through the next bead and that bead on the side, and then we close with 1. And now we are done with the second row of our handle. So this process is very simple, okay? We're going to keep it going until we get to our desired handle length, okay? So my desired handle length is 29 rows in total. So you're going to do this until you get to 29 rows. Let's meet there. I'm done with that, and now it's time to connect our handle to this other side of our bag. So we have to make sure both sides are aligned. We have to choose where our line is facing, just like this. And our line is facing this bead right there. Next, I'm going to add 1 bead on this side of the line and then connect it to that bead where my line is facing. Then I will take 1 more bead to close that up. To continue, both sides of my line will go through these sides, the right to the right and the left to the left, and then I'll take 1 more bead to close that up. Let's go on to the next part. Do the same thing, both sides through the beads, and then I take 1 more bead to close that up. We are now at this final part. All I have to do is to pass my line through those beads to make sure they are secure, just like this. Make sure everything is super tight, and we're done with that. So let's go ahead to end our line. And I'm done. This is so beautiful. Our bag is now 90% ready. We have just 1 more step to go. You can choose to skip this part, but this is just the highlight of the bag. It is now time to add our squiggly pattern to our handle, and to do that we are going to cut out some line, and then I'm going to pass my line through that bead I'm pointing at, okay? Just right there. Once that is done, I will join both ends of my line like this. Then I'll pass a total of 9 beads through my line. Once that is done, take a look at what I'm going to do right now. Just pay attention, okay? I'm going to count 2 rings forward. You know, where we are in is already a ring, so I'm going to count 2 rings forward, and then still with my line that is joined, I'm going to pass my line through the hole in the middle of the ring. Okay, note I'm not passing it to any bead, I'm just passing it through the hole in that ring, and then I'll come out of the other side. And now we have done one of our vines. It's looking so nice. The next thing I would do is to string my line with 9 beads again, and then I would repeat the same step, count 2 rings forward and pass my line through the hole in that ring. Then I'll come out of the other side. So this step is very simple, okay? We're going to keep it going to whatever distance we desire. I actually wanted to do this like all the way down, but by the time I finished I realized that it was rather inconveniencing. You know, when you hold the bag and the vines are like not settled, so I had to do it halfway. So let's just meet halfway. Let's go. So with that, our bag is ready. Look at this beauty. I'm so in love with this design, and I hope you love it too. Also, you can choose to recreate this bag in other types of citrus fruits. I did a lemon. You can do a lime. A lime is like 2 shades of green. You can do orange. You can do grapefruit. You know, just be fun with your colors, okay? I hope you try this tutorial out, and please do share this with your friends, and I hope to see you all in my next tutorial. Goodbye.